Hey, beautiful souls. I wanted to share a few nuggets of wisdom today on a topic that Spirit has been asking me to share over the last couple of days. And I've had a busy day. I had to drive to the city and back today, which is a bit tiring, but I'm going to do it now. And that is on the masculine and feminine, and why we sometimes the masculine and feminine fear each other, shut down their heart, put the walls up, which is through a core wound, an inner child wound that comes from a masculine or feminine energy in the male or female body. We all, as we know, hold masculine and feminine within us, but I'm talking here about the male and female body. And I want to share a little experience of mine that was why I feared the masculine growing up so much, the males. And I didn't share this in my book, Flying Without Wings. At the time, I kept it out for personal reasons, for family reasons, but I am going to share it now. Spirit asked me to share it now. And this is something I discovered a few years back on my journey, my spiritual journey, and when I was doing my own work, etc. So why do the male and female, in the male and female body, why do we fear each other sometimes? Fear of rejection. So it comes from core wounding, and it's usually got nothing to do with the person that we're fearing, but it's that inner child wounding. And my experience, I had a couple, but my deepest experience was from my grandfather. And what happened is I grew up with two grandfathers. One lived close to me, one lived about 2 hours away in the city. And so I saw the one close to me more regularly. The one in the city I saw when I could, but ironically I was closer to him than the one that I saw all the time. And the one in the city had, I used to go visit him, and he had these old sheds, and he'd be down the backyard in his old sheds, tinkering away, and they were a chaotic mess, but like to a child like me, I'm like, whoa. But he used to show me things, teach me things. He had a bunch of fruit trees and walnuts, and he had garlic that he'd grow and all sorts of stuff, and he taught me so many things from a little girl. And I could see that he was so keen to teach me, and he really enjoyed me being there, going from shed to shed with him, and I'd just sit and watch, and every time I visited him I'd go down there to see him. Now, his first reaction when I arrived was somewhat of, because that's the era, right? It's like, the way he would express himself and his feelings was like, hey, what are you doing here? Or, what are you doing down here seeing me? Or, wouldn't you rather be somewhere else? And, that sort of thing. But I knew that was him, and I knew that was his nature, and I just knew as a little girl that it's kind of like that's how men were. They didn't kind of, sadly enough, they didn't say, come over here and give me a kiss and a cuddle and wrap their arms around you and say, hey, I'm so glad you came down to see me, I'll show you how to do some things. Like, it just wasn't that era. So the other grandfather, but I must say, but even though I knew that, why did I know that? Because the energy. So the energy he projected out, and I was a very conscious child, and I could read energy very well, and the energy that he projected out was that of love, unconditional love. I always, even though he never told me he loved me, or I don't remember a time that he did, I still know he loved me. Like, it was always love. He showed me so much love. Even when I'd be up in the house, at night, staying there on vacation or whatever, he's trying to talk politics, and he's so wise to an 8-9-year-old, and I was totally not interested, but I just loved the fact that he wanted to share time with me and help educate me and things like that. So I always felt love from him. Okay, so it didn't really matter what words came out of his mouth to make me think. I never ever thought, does he not want me here? Does he not love me? So, and it's 444 when I just looked down. So the other grandfather, a very similar deal, had the sheds. I used to go around there, go down to see him, because I was trying to build this relationship with my grandfathers. And similar wording, except he would say things like, when I was there, you're a nuisance, you know, why don't you just go, you know, up to the house, or why are you around here? Don't you want to go home? I'm really busy. So, and when he said these things, the energy was he meant them. And that's the difference. I felt in the energy that he didn't love me. And I didn't even feel he liked me. And he didn't want me around. So what I used to do is, what did I do? As we do as humans, we seek the love from the ones that don't love us, that we feel rejected from, more than actually being and giving that love and being grateful and, you know, reciprocating that love in a better way to others. So what I did is, of course, I just kept going around there as much as I could to his house and hoping that one day I could feel he would love me. And what I did is I just pile on the mask. So I thought, well, he doesn't like the person I am. I'll be someone different. I'll try it. So I'm trying to be all these different things, you know. It's like I talk about in my course, Raise to Your Divine Self. The people, we're like Play-Doh, right? And they get us, and their perception of us and how they treat us molds us, because we start to mask and do different things to try and be loved and try and be wanted and try and be liked. And especially when it's coming from like a parent or grandparent or guardian that is to give you that unconditional love, we wonder why they're not, right? We're kind of like, you should love us. Like, why do the others love us? And, you know, what? So then it comes back to what's wrong with us. I thought, what's wrong with me? Like, we never think there's anything wrong with that person, or at that age, we're not, as a child, we're not even comprehending that it's something that is their issue and that they can't open up and they can't share feelings and emotions, or they've not been taught, or they're injured, or, you know, wounded themselves in different areas. And there's no judgment here at all, because I know as I've gone on and been a coach for for years, that when I got through the other side of this a few years ago, I realised, and I took a deeper look at my grandfather, and I realised that, you know, there was lots of things that factored into it. You know, he'd been to the war and the front line, he came back. I mean, we all know what they say about that. But also his family and generational patterns were like that. So to me, he never told me he loved me. I never felt loved by him. I always felt like I was a nuisance. He used the term a lot, children should be seen and not heard, which, as I explain in my book, I talk about this, that is just, it's so traumatic to a child to say that, like, children should be seen and not heard. Like, it's just a real no-go zone. The implications of that are just astounding. I talk about that in my book. And so this was the energy all the time. And when I think about it, I don't ever recall him. He's always a bit grumpy. I don't ever recall him being very happy. So when I look back, there was obviously a lot of issues around him, and he just couldn't extend that love. Maybe he didn't really know how to. But as a child and a teenager, we don't know any of that. And so we take that on and we feel rejected. And there is other situations and incidences that happened in my life that I talk about those in my book, where I was wounded by the male, the masculine energy. So naturally I defaulted to my masculine energy most of my life. Even though I've been a very feminine person, I've defaulted to my masculine energy, because that's what happens. The first person that wounds us and we feel that core pain wound, we default to that energy. So if it's your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, it's the male feminine. I'm talking about in the male body or the feminine body. And we default to that because that's our survival. Okay, we've got through that, we've had the pain, the hurt. We put up our walls. If it's a masculine energy, we, you know, or even the feminine, because we've been wounded, we feel rejected, we feel unloved, we feel unworthy. Because when somebody doesn't offer us that unconditional love where we feel it should come from, we feel that, especially, it's not just the not loving, it's they make us feel unworthy. It's like, well, what's wrong with us? You know, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me, not you? So So what happens then is, yeah, we drop into that fear of rejection. And we know that in the masculine energy or the feminine energy, whichever one we default to that we've been hurt in, we know that pain, we know that rejection, we know that feeling, and we can survive that, we can handle that. Okay, so we default to that to protect ourselves. It's like a protection thing. And it does go way deeper than that, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. And if any of you have an awareness or even not an awareness of this but want to go deeper with this, I've really helped a lot of people on this journey, this spiritual journey, journey of life, go deeper into finding their wounds. I've had a lot come to me that have been on their journey for years, and I really have a knack of getting deep into that core to find where it's been blocked. Because lots of people, I find, will think, oh no, well, I default to this energy, but I was never wounded in that energy first, and things like that. But then when we get back to it, they have been. So, and it's about taking them deeper into that. And what happens is that the reason it's necessary is because we carry these wounds with us, which a lot of you listening to this probably already know, but we carry this through and we create from those wounds into our adult life. And so if we grow up fearing the masculine or fearing the feminine, then it's hard to open up to that sex. Okay, so and this is what happens. We get to the point where men sometimes they'll run or feel rejected of the feminine, and vice versa. The feminine will do the same. And often that's okay. We can get by if we're in relationships where we're seeking externally from outside of ourselves. If we're in the old paradigm, that old template, we're not working on ourselves and facing our fears and insecurities and clearing all that out. But when we meet our divine, beautiful other, our twin flame, soul flame, whatever you would like to call it, or someone that really shows us the mirror, they shine that little torch inside, and it's like, this is where you've got to heal, and which is beautiful. And we see things that we didn't know were there, but also we will react and be triggered in that way. So that's how sometimes we'll run from the love. We won't want to go deeper into the love or put up our walls around our heart. We go into that contraction mode instead of expansion. And what happens is we don't flow with it, and we don't flow with our truth and being transparent because we want to cover it all up, because we're in fear. We're in fear of being rejected. And this is what happens. So you have the males in fear of the female of being rejected, and the females fearing the males of being rejected. And it just sort of mirrors each other. So Spirit wanted me to share this with you today, and just to bring awareness to it as well. And I mean, obviously a lot of you probably already know if you have that fear, but some also may not realize where it comes from or have the awareness. And a lot might not even fear that realize that they're in fear of that. They might think it's something else, or other insecurities or limiting beliefs and things like that, but they may not realize that why can't I be, they might be saying, why can't I be open and transparent and beautiful with this person I love so deeply, or just with anybody. But why am I so fearful of being rejected? And there's always that underlying wound, and sometimes we don't realize that we're actually in fear of the males or of the females. So I grew up pretty much in fear that way of opening my heart fully. And although I was previously married before I met my soul flame, and for quite a while, and I then divorced, and I was already divorced, when I met my soul flame. But obviously we know it's a very different love, but again, I was seeking externally when we're in relationships where we're seeking other people or externally to fill our voids, and not looking and doing our work internally, and you know, and on that journey back to self-love, back to finding our divine light, etc., etc. So I'm going to share that little message with you today. Please like if you like this video, and subscribe to the channel, and share if you would like to share. There's more about this in my book, Flying Without Wings. That wasn't to be a plug, but why not? So, Flying Without Wings by myself. You can purchase it on Amazon, through a few other ways as well. It's on my Instagram, and the link's down below as well, and my website. But I just would like you to sit with that and just think about where maybe you may have a fear around your masculine or feminine, or just in general. It's for anybody, not just people on the twin flame path, or you know, anything like that. It's just for everybody. There's a lot of women out there that fear men, and a lot of men that fear women, and that's why a lot of women are going around defaulting and living from their masculine energy. Like, you know, a lot of, I would say, you know, particularly ones that are unawakened, but even ones that are conscious, a lot of women, we default to our masculine energy. I won't actually put myself in that category anymore, because I used to, but now I've worked really hard at balancing the two, and understanding when I need to be in my masculine and when I need to be in my feminine, and how I swap and go and balance the two. But I had to work really, really hard on my fears. Judgment was a huge one for me, fearing judgment, because the parts I talk about in my book that I felt ridiculed and traumatized by men, which was rejected, was from judgment. So as I was a conscious child, very conscious child growing up, and could feel energy so well, I traveled, as I explain in my book, with my beautiful twin flame in spirit form, because we have an age gap, and then later on we met in physical, when he incarnated in the physical form. But he walked with me, and I felt him, and I didn't know it to be called twin flames or anything then, but I walked with my beautiful spiritual one, and into my teenage years, and I felt like I lived between two worlds with him. So I felt energy really well. I was so conscious in this world that I knew that it was just a world. I could see the illusions. I knew the illusions. I knew I'd been here a million times before. I knew I was an ancient angelic soul. There's lots of stuff I knew, which is in my book. But because of that, I did read energy really well, and I could read between my grandparents, you know, my grandfathers, that I could feel that love, the difference between one and the other. And most children can. Like, in saying that, yes, that was my experience, and I was lucky to have that. It was a beautiful experience. But most children, when they're innocent and still show that unconditional love, before they've been really you know, got a little bit older and started going to school, and then started getting the judgment, and then the wounds start happening, and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of them are just, it's simple, you know, they just love. They just think it's about love. So that being said, I probably have left out a few things Spirit wanted me to share, but I'm just getting told it was mainly what Spirit is guiding me to say is that the big message here is, please, okay, they're saying divine feminine and divine masculine, even though this is for all, but they're saying that divine feminines and divine masculines that listen to this, please take this message and go deeper into your core, because there is still a lot, and again, this is not just for twin flames, but this is the message they want to send for the soul flames, twin flames. So I call it either twin flames or soul flames, because it's depending on what level you're at on your journey. So I've come in now to the soul flames. I don't the 3D twin flame template is gone out of our journey. But depending, some are just meeting, and it just depends where you are. But they're saying basically, it doesn't matter. It's just for all anyway. Please release where you fear your masculines and where you feel your feminines of being rejected. So a lot of masculines have at some point either ran or left their divine feminines. This is what I'm getting through. Didn't expect this to come through. To either go in other relationships or have chosen other karmic situations, not necessarily relationships, but friends and family, etc., over this love and over their divine feminine. So a lot of the divine masculine have, through the old template of how they've been programmed, and through fear of worrying about what people think, and through fear of other things as well, deeply embedded in them, like those older programs. So they're saying that now they've done a lot of healing, which I know they have, and they're coming back to their divine feminines, but because there's been deceit or there's been lots of stuff happen in the way that it's played out, and remember, it is a mirror, so the divine feminine may not actually have done the same sort of things, but everything's mirrored in a sense of fears and insecurities. So they're saying that the divine masculine is still holding, some of them are still holding that fear of now approaching the divine feminine. And so they're asking the divine feminine to release that fear first, because they're saying if their masculine holds that, then in some places the divine feminine will hold an energy of that as well. And it might be an energy of, you can read it different ways. They're saying it might not show up as an energy of you're frightened of them coming back. It might show up as an energy of you're frightened maybe still to open your heart, or you're frightened if you're going to know how to open your heart, or you're frightened that they might leave again, or something like that. That's what they're sort of saying, that there will be still an element of some type of fear of some situation. It might be a different situation to what your masculine fears, but there'll be some element of fear in there from you. So they're asking both to go deeper into themselves and just let go of it and release. And even if you can't find the core wound, just let go and give it up. Just give it up, let go and release it, and just know what is it, and what is to be, if you know what I mean. That's what they're saying. Just let us take your hands and bring you together, and don't try and control it, and don't try and resist it. This is what I'm getting. You didn't think I was going to get a message through like this. And just let it go and just let it flow is what they're saying. And do not resist. Do not even think about it, they're saying. So just let it go. They're very proud of the divine feminine that's moved into their sovereignty more and is really on mission and path and moving forward with that. It's kind of like set it all up for when the divine union takes place and the divine masculine just slots in, and then the divine masculine takes his role as the divine masculine with his divine feminine, and it's like, and that's off in union. So they're saying that they're very happy with a lot of the divine feminines for finally stepping in, but there's still some that are holding back, talking about the love, holding back being open about the love, and through fear of concern, through fear of judgment, through fear of rejection as well from their divine masculine. So these are messages for the divine feminine, and I just want to say, even if you're not on this path, this can go for any male and female in that type of relationship, because we're all going to be moving into conscious relationships, and the karmic relationships, whether you have a soulmate or twin flame on the earth at this moment for you, and you're or not, and you're meant to be with someone that's not your soulmate or twin flame, soul flame, people are still moving towards unconditional loving conscious relationships. So you can take this with you definitely if you haven't found your other beloved yet, or you know, you're on a different sort of path where you're not here for the twin flame or soulmate beloved path. You can still you know, still take this with you, and don't fear from your core wounds is what I'm getting. Don't fear the divine, don't fear the masculine, and don't feel the feminine. So just let it go. Wow, I had no idea I was going to say all that as well. They want to keep talking. They want to extend so much love to everyone on the journey of consciousness. Even like star seeds, light workers that aren't on the twin flame, soul flame journey path, that are doing it solo at this point, that just really, they're not here with their other beloved at this time on earth. Everything's moving very, very fast. Lots of unions are coming into place, they're saying. So just really, really please let down your guard, let down the walls. If you're not sure how to do that, or you want, you know, as I said, I can help you if you wanted to do a one-on-one session with me. I still take booked sessions at the moment, bookings. Also, my course is available, but also what I'm getting as, because I didn't mean to give that as a plug, but why not? But also meditation is a great tool, is what they're saying. And really getting to that higher consciousness level, but grounded at the same time. So, okay. So that's the message that they wanted me to bring today, and share my little story as well. And I didn't realize it would go into a bit of a reading, and I could have gone on for ages actually. Maybe next time. Maybe next video I'll actually just do a channeled reading coming through. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, the bigger message here, which they're just saying, please, 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 if you take only one thing away from this message, it is to drop the fear. That's their words, around feeling rejected by your beloved, by your divine masculine or your divine feminine, no matter who you are in the male or female body or the role you play. So men, stop fearing their divine feminine, and divine feminine, stop fearing your divine masculine. Of rejection, of and because it's all in the past, they're saying, and it is for you to leave it in the past. All this, they're saying, all this work you've been doing on yourself, the clearing, the energy clearing, the planetary clearing that's going on, the higher realms clearing, all of the bigger picture of all our crews have been helping us with, and the channelings, and all the work that us ground crew here have been doing, us twin flame star seeds, light workers, etc., that have been doing, has been phenomenal. And so don't let all that go to waste by blocking yourself and not going deeper to release that fear. Okay, so that's the real key message, though, really bringing that through. Can feel now the Arcturians, I call them my Arcturians, part of my crew, because I work with the 12th dimension, so they really want to bring that message as well. To please, where they see the most of these soul flame connections and twin flame connections are blocked is through the actually fearing each other and the rejection of each other still. So in summer, not everybody, there's a lot of us that have done a lot of the work and cleared that out, but there's little remnants, they're saying, that some just really need to work on, and others need to work on deeper, that maybe have just not been on the journey as long, on their personal inner journey as long. Going deeper into self-love. My course, Raise to Your Divine Self, is a self-love course in it, as well as cosmic awareness and energy, and a twin flame component as well. So that really teaches you to get to the deepest level, root cause of self-love. So I think that's it. I'm just seeing if there's anything more. Again, they're really pushing me to say, oh my God, it's so strong. The energy that's flowing through me at the moment is just bursting out. It's like I just want to go, because this is the energy I'm feeling. They're going, just release that fear. Just release that fear. Like, this is what I'm getting. It's like, crazy. Like, it's just such full on energy. They're pounding through me to say, please, 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 please. Tell them, especially the divine feminines, to release, because if you do it first, then your masculine will. So release that fear totally, any remnants of it, because the energy is not the same. And they want me to tell you that the energies of the planet are not the same. The energies of your divine other is not the same as it used to be. Nothing is the same as the last time you would have had communication or saw them or whatever was going on with either. The planet has changed. Energies have changed. So this is what they really want to bring forth. So whether you see the change or not in the physical with the world and your beloved and what's happening, change is coming, and we have so much divine intervention at this time. So on my last channel, I forget what it's called now, but it was about divine intervention and unions. You could go to my YouTube and watch that. It was a great channel, and I had lots of comments about how amazing people loved it. And it gives a bigger picture of what's happening with the divine intervention at the moment. And in that, we talk about, they were telling us that we don't really have, especially us on this journey, we don't have free will anymore. It's all divine will. So we may think we do, but as soon as we make the wrong decision or go off path, that sort of decision, divine intervention. So we're really being guided so carefully at the moment. Fast, but really carefully. So, okay, on that note, I'm roasting in here because my heater's on. So I'm going to go. So much love to you all. Love you all. Thank you for listening. If you're still here, lots of love and gratitude and blessings, and take care. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, ciao.